In today's video, we go over the best graphic settings in Modern Warfare 2. Watch this video if you want to maximize your FPS to gain a competitive edge, increase enemy visibility so you can see your enemies better, and also make your game still look good so you're not playing a pixelated mess. So without wasting any time, let's get into it. Alright, so the first thing that we want to do in the graphic settings is go to your display tab. So under display, one of the first options that we have here is the display mode. So this is super important. What you want to do is always pick full screen exclusive. If you pick another option like windowed or full screen borderless, this will actually hurt your FPS. Not only that, but you'll actually see a little stuttering in game. So if you want the best FPS possible and reduce any stuttering, always pick full screen exclusive. Next over here is the display monitor. So obviously here just pick your main monitor that you play on. So me, I picked the Dell AW2721D. I have two other monitors here, but these are just my secondary monitors. Under display adapter, just pick your GPU that you're currently running. For me, I run the 3090, and over here, this is just the integrated graphics that my CPU comes with. Over here, screen refresh rate. So for this one, my monitor runs at a 240 Hertz. So I always want to maximize this. There's no point running here at a lower refresh rate. So I just maximize this to 239 or whatever, it's 240. Next over here is the display resolution. So my monitor is a 1440p monitor, and obviously I want to play at that resolution, right? So whether you have a 1080p monitor, then you would pick 1920 by 1080, or if you have a 4K, then you would just pick that option instead. For dynamic resolution, we want to leave this off, and what this option really does is, say if we turn this on, we would set a frame rate targets. I always want to hit like 120, right? If our frame rate starts to drop, then our resolution actually goes lower. So my game would play at 1080p, for instance, right? So we just keep changing up and down. So visually, this might be a little bit distracting. So we just want to leave this off. Next over here is our aspect ratio. Leave this in automatic. VSync gameplay and VSync menus. Leave this off because this actually causes input lag, and obviously we don't want that. Custom frame rate limit. We want to put this on custom. And over here for our gameplay custom frame rate limit, maximize this as much as you want. Here I have it on 300 FPS. For our menu custom frame rate limit, we don't really care about how high our FPS gets in the menu. So leave this on 60, and for here, just leave this on 30. And the reason why we want to limit this is our GPU doesn't really have to work as hard whenever we're not actually in game. So use these settings so you can keep your GPU running more efficiently and more cool during an extended period of playing time. And over here, this is nothing. Display gamma, we want to leave this on 2.2 if you're on a monitor, but if you're playing on a TV, leave this on 2.4. And brightness, I have it pretty much a default because for me, it works perfectly enough. Depending on your monitor, you might have to decrease or increase, but this all really depends on your preference. And over here, focus mode, leave this on off. And for me, I turn off HDR. Now moving over to the quality tab, the first thing over here is the quality preset. Obviously, we're going to do a custom setting, and for render resolution, we want to keep this at 100. So if you mess with the slider over here, this pretty much means it's running at a percentage of your resolution, right? So if I pick somewhere like at 75, this pretty much means that it's going to be running at 1080p. And since I have a 1440p monitor, I want to run this pretty much at 100, right? So leave this at 100. Now for upscaling and sharpening, this is pretty important. We want to put this at Fidelity FX Cast. So what this does is it pretty much makes your image a lot sharper, and it actually makes seeing enemies a lot better. It increases your visibility. And if you press show more over here, we want to set this at around like 80 or 75, maybe even 90 as well. And basically this makes your game look super crisp, and I highly recommend this setting. And for anti-aliasing, pretty much this option helps with any of the jaggies in game. The first option here is already good, and over here at Filmic, it makes it look a little bit better, but obviously this would hurt your performance a little bit. So we want to keep this at the first option. For the quality, keep this on low. So for video memory scale, I leave this on max at 90, but if you have a lower end PC and you encounter a few stuttering in game, then you can pretty much adjust the slider to maybe 80 or 70. So yeah, I would either pick either 70 or 90 depending on how good your PC is. So for texture resolution, we want to keep this on low. When you start going on normal or high, you would notice a bigger performance hit. And honestly, going on low is not even that bad. If you do want a higher performance gain, you can pick very low, but the game starts looking very crappy, right? So I just leave this on low. So for texture filter anisotropic, I leave this on high. So this actually has no hit on your performance gain, and also it makes your visibility a lot better, right? So leave this on high. For nearby level of detail and also distant level of detail, keep this on low. Pretty much this does really nothing in game for visibility, so keep this on low. For clutter draw distance, keep this on short. And here on particle quality, we want to leave this on high. So in the previous Call of Duty games, actually leaving this on high increases your FPS, and we honestly have no idea why, but it's been like this for the previous titles, and we just want to keep this on high. That's just how it is. Particle quality level, keep this on low. For bullet impacts and sprays, this is really up to your preference. It actually has barely any impact on your performance. For me, I just leave it on off because I don't really care about seeing the bullet impact on the walls and such. So this is really up to you. For shader quality, this is super important. If you are a camo grinder and you like seeing your gold camo, for example, if you set this on low, it would look like crap. So if you do want your gold camo to look actually pretty good, I would set this on medium or high. Right? If you put on low, it would look like mustard, right? So this is pretty important, and I see a lot of videos, they don't really explain this, so this is really up to you. So if you want it on high, this will take an effect on your FPS, so there is a trade-off over here, right? So for me, I do want it to look pretty good, so I leave this on high. Tessellation, we're gonna leave this on off. This might look nice when you're playing campaign, but for multiplayer, honestly, it doesn't really matter. Terrain memory, we wanna leave this on max. On-demand texture streaming, leave this on off. So this has like a big performance hit if you actually keep this on. And honestly, I have no idea why you'd wanna download the textures while you're playing, right? So leave this on off. Streaming quality, we want to keep this on low. Again, this has like a decent hit on your FPS, so leave this on low. Volumetric quality, this is pretty much the setting for the clouds and the lighting, and honestly, it really looks at that, so keep this on low. Deferred physics quality and water caustics, we want to keep this on off, and these are the settings on how your water looks in game. So honestly, it doesn't really matter because some maps, they don't even have water, right? So I leave this on off. So under shadow and lighting, we want to go to shadow map resolution. We want to keep this on low. Basically, this increases your quality of the shadows. Low, honestly, it's not that bad. When you start going from normal to high, it actually decreases your performance by a little bit, right? So low is pretty decent already. When you go very low, it actually makes your shadows really look kind of pixelated, and it actually looks pretty bad, right? So if you really want to maximize your FPS, you can go very low, but I find low is good enough already. Screen space shadows, we want to keep this on off. Spot shadow quality, we want to leave this on low. For spot cache, we can leave this on low. If you have a lot of VRAM available, then you can go high, but pretty much for most of the players, low is fine. Particle lighting, we'll leave this on low as well. Honestly, going from normal, high, or ultra, it's really not worth the FPS trade-off, so keep this on low. So ambient occlusion, we want to leave this on off, right? So this actually has a big performance hit if you actually turn this on. And this settings really just makes your shadows a little bit more prettier, right? And honestly, if we want to make our performance better in game, we want to put this on off. Now for screen space reflections, again, just like shader quality, if you are a camo grinder and you want it to look good, I would put this on high. If not, then you can just put this on normal or off. But like me, I want my camos to look good. I leave this on high. Static reflection quality, we want to leave this on low. Weather grid volumes, we want to leave this on low as well. So under post-processing effects, we have NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency. So for some players with a weak CPU, and if you're CPU bound, you might want to try on plus boost. So I would test between these two options and see which gives you a higher FPS boost. But for most players, I would recommend this with on. For depth of field, obviously we want to leave this on off. We don't want some of the screen being blurred. Same with world motion blur. You can already see on the right-hand screen, if you run, pretty much your whole image gets blurred, right? So we want to leave this on off. Weapon motion blur, same thing. We want to leave this on off as well. Film grain, we want to leave this all the way off at 0, right? So this reduces your visibility by a lot, right? So leave this at 0. So under the view tab, we have field of view, right? So for me personally, I like playing at 120. It just makes the gameplay more enjoyable for me. But if you're having trouble seeing enemies at a farther distance, then I would recommend going down to 110 or even 105, right? And this option is still a lot better than playing at 80 FOV, which consoles were limited to before, right? So really up to your preference. For me, I like playing at 120. Basically, any setting would work just fine. ADS field of view, we want to leave this unaffected. If you leave this on independent, whenever you're ADS, it would look pretty jarring. And also one of the benefits for playing at a higher FOV is less visual recoil, right? So we want to leave this on affected. For weapon field of view, I like to put this on wide. It's really up to your preference. One of the benefits that I like when I put it on wide is the weapon looks just a little bit smaller, so it takes a little bit space on your screen, right? So you can play around with these options. For me, I like wide. Third person field of view, I just left this on 80. Vehicle field of view, same thing as the weapon field of view, I put this on wide. Now under camera, for first and third person camera movement, we want to leave this on the lowest possible, right? So this reduces the amount of screen shake that your camera gets. So lowest as possible at 50%. And for third person ADS transition, I just left this on default. And for default spectator camera, I put this on game perspective. And that is it, guys. Let me know in the comments below if this video helped you at all, and hopefully you gained some decent performance in your game. As always, if you guys enjoyed the video and if it was useful, don't forget to like the video to help the algorithm, and also don't forget to subscribe for more videos just like this. And until next time, YouTube, peace.